What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. It's been a weird feeling today. I was right that the vampire sociopath was an INFJ, and in hindsight, what happened with her originally, we're speaking slowly so we can get to 30 seconds. We're at 30 seconds. What happened with her originally was INFJ bullshit. Total confusion, hidden goals, mixed signals, playing the victim, gaslighting. But I wrote that off even after I figured she was an INFJ because whatever, it didn't end the worst way it could have ended. And I thought we had made progress too. In the end, if nothing else, we had managed to be clear and real. But then she showed back up and tried to do the exact same thing we had dealt with the first time around, further demonstrating what INFJs are and the role they play in the world, or the anti-role. But we're saving the next Fuck INFJs video either for tomorrow or for some other day soon. What came over me was this oppressive, corrosive feeling of disgust. Both on the smaller side, because this was a less sophisticated attempt, a more naked attempt that was just gross. Nothing's worse than when a person won't be clear, and it's gross enough when someone won't be clear and then they use any diversion attempt to prevent clarity, which is INFJ's bread and butter. But the most basic and lowest diversion is acting hurt to avoid being clear, because what that's doing is it is hijacking a more innocent person's goodwill. So they'll focus on your false feelings as if they're real, and INFJs don't have feelings. So they can divert you away from clarity and bog you down into this engaging nothingness so they can drain your energy. An INFJ's goal in all situations is to bog you down in nothing. When an INFJ separates you from clarity and honesty, they've won. They are presently draining your soul. But what grosses me out is the jadening of people who realize that they've been taken advantage of, that their goodwill has been taken advantage of, and then they go forward with less capacity for goodwill, because something positive in them has been hijacked. What INFJs teach you is anything positive and natural goodwill you feel is a vulnerability and you need to do something about it. They actively make populations worse. And that'll be the essence of what the next Fuck INFJs video is. But this video's point is the grossness I have felt all day. It took me a while to figure, well, I was feeling a few different ways today, but the vibe of the day was the feeling you get when you are in your early 20s and you're a functional, quotes functional, alcoholic, and you are buying alcohol in the morning at a liquor store, and all of the older, rougher alcoholics are in there. And the painful thing is they're all very easy to get along with. Maybe that has something to do with addictive genes or your experience with addiction, but I don't think it is. Or maybe there is some overlap between predisposition to addiction and spirits. Spirits. Because I've always gotten along with Gen X and baby boomer fucked up alcoholics. But the reason I'm talking about all this is when you're in the liquor store in the morning talking to these people, one, you realize you're one of them, except earlier in life. And two, there is a sadness for everyone. the sadness of realizing this is what their lives are, this is what your life is, and all there is to be certain of is you're in it now, and one day you won't be. I mean, every day that passes, you lose possibility in your life. And if you were able to look at your life from beginning to end all at once, you'd realize your possibility capacity was never that great to begin with, but when you're younger and you don't know, you at least have this happy cloud of possibility. Some of the saddest moments in life are when you realize both that cloud of possibility doesn't exist, as in what you could be or can be in life is more limited than you thought it was, and also when you realize how it's narrowing. I think it was the last episode of Samurai Jack when he gets eaten by the Leviathan, or tricked. It's all coincidental, it's all clicking today. Tricked by the Leviathan, and he's sitting inside there with all those sad people who had also been tricked. And Jack realizes that he's been tricked, and now he's stuck in the situation and there's no magic. With a bunch of other people who also have no magic, because the magic was never real. Those are the sad moments. And that's the sort of sadness I've been feeling today. Time has been passing faster, as it does, but today felt like it was over immediately. It felt like the day didn't even happen. I was in some kind of coma all day. And I was watching a video, or that video, about the guy who goes into that old MMO, and dead MMO, mostly dead, and meets all the people, the remaining players, and they're sad too. And seeing this entire world of history, this game's events, the notable players and all this. And I felt sad that I'll never be enough. And we need to parse this one out because there's a lot going on in that. First, I like who I am and I like the life I've led and am leading. I recognize the particular value of my role in all of whatever this is. I don't, at least I think, I don't really want to be someone else. Because I know if I were someone else, after a while, I would want to be me again. As odd as this life is, it feels important in a way I can't put my finger on, that I'm the one living my life. Now, that established, I'm sad I haven't lived a manga life. I think I'm sad at both the insubstantiality of my life and also the transience of my life. I feel like a character in some modernist literature in which I'm going through my own form of the Odyssey. Except I am some fucking guy. Daedalus went around Dublin, Skimmerlit goes around the internet. Shards of the shattered looking glass everywhere. Which is why, again, I like my life, but damn, sometimes you don't want to be in modernist literature. You want to be in sweet and cool manga. And there isn't a sophisticated or pragmatic or realistic way to put this. You wish you could meet characters. You wish your life were filled with cool, interesting characters your story, or your all's story, could unfold with over your entire life. But who instead do you meet? Okay, you meet ghosts in the fog. You know them briefly, and you know them terribly, and then they're gone. Because if you were to try to keep them around, and you know this because you have in the past, you suffer. and they suffer, and you make each other suffer. So your life is devoid of meaningful human connections. And I think one of the people are so attracted to narratives, aside from the human need for narrative structure, a lot of it is, or are, those meaningful human connections. That's what we're interested in because that's what we're supposed to be alive to pursue and to enjoy and to view life through. Meaningful human connections are supposed to be the lens you analyze existence through. You don't have that. And I'm wondering if that's even a real thing. And if it's not a real thing, then why do we want it? I'm sad because you're alone. We're alone. And it feels like it's supposed to be like this. And you have INFJs crawling around making what's already probably impossible, certainly impossible. Because they take your capacity to try and damage it. And then another one damages it. And then another one damages it. This characters and human connection thing probably wouldn't happen under the best conditions. It certainly won't happen under these conditions. And it's slowly but surely evolving from won't to can't, unless it was always can't. And then there's another feeling, well, we're still under the not enough umbrella, but I said earlier there's a lot of shit happening here. A more direct form of not enough, envying people who either are enough or at least are wanted. I mentioned that MMO video. It annoyed me seeing people who mattered to other people. I mean, you look at anyone who does anything with the intention of developing an audience. I love the tough crowd people when they used to talk about it. One of my favorite lines from Rich Voss was talking about his parents and their fucked up divorce situation. Thanks for not hugging me, Mom. One more hug and I would have been in a cubicle. I'm doing this because I want to matter to people, but you realize a complicated sort of feel, and I'm not sure how to word it. It's somewhere between people who matter don't matter, and people who matter to people don't matter to people. This one's tricky because I understand it has nothing to do with whether or not you actually, quotes, matter. It has everything to do with whether or not you feel like you matter. And if you don't feel like you matter, then you won't feel like you matter. And this is where a lesser person, a much lesser person, would say you need to fix something within you to feel better. And I don't think that's the case because it is an internal and an external thing. And what I mean by that is you can feel like you matter, and in the moments you do feel like you matter, it's nothing you did. This is what I'm talking about with the we can't do it all alone thing. And side note, why does it feel like it doesn't feel like it is the case. Why is everybody an enemy of clarity? Much of the time in life, it feels like you're trying to get into a mansion and you've traveled across the country to get to this mansion and you've arrived at the gates, and instead of helping you figure out how to deal with the gates, other people who act like their goal is also to get inside the mansion say, no, we should go back 200 miles and look around this random truck stop. And if you call them dumb, they get angry. We are in the process of getting closer. Don't waste my time trying to take me off target, acting like you're doing me a favor. That is still irritating. It's not about mattering to people or receiving acknowledgement from people. You want to matter to people or receive acknowledgement from people in the way you want to matter to them, or you want to receive the sort of acknowledgement you want to receive from them. So you can be the most important person on the planet, but if you aren't important in the way you want to feel important, then you'll still feel this way. Which is another reason INFJs are evil. I don't think they understand what you want, but in their automatic decrypting systems, part of them knows how to get a feel for what you want so they can feed you that, so they can take advantage of you and drain your soul. Right? That's why INFJs fucking around emotionally ranges from disgusting, like maggots, to devastating, like nuclear bombs, when they haven't really done anything, and or versus an ENTJ who is actively trying to destroy your life materially, and that one doesn't bother you as much. INFJs detect where you'll feel pain most, and they hit you there. Versus an ENTJ might drop a nuclear bomb on you, but and you'll die, definitely, but you won't feel extended, excruciating pain. This all to say, I do matter to people, and there's an array of ways I matter to people, and degrees too. I matter a whole lot to some people, but I don't matter the way I want to matter to anyone. If we're looking at this from the judgment craving side of things, I haven't been judged or assessed in the way I want to be judged and assessed. The parts of me I value are not valuable to anyone else, or they aren't valued in the way I want them to be valued. And this is all selfish, sure, but at the same time, fuck yourself viciously, savagely. People use ideologies and religions to cope with the fact they can't satisfy what I'm describing either. On this level, you and I are exactly the same. The difference between us is you still believe you can hide it and bury it and either ignore it or overcome it, or content yourself with the idea you could or will satisfy it one day. And I guess I am doing the same thing because you can't not, but that's part of what's been making me sad today. I envy other people because I see them matter to people in ways I don't matter to people. And even though I know if I managed to matter to people the way they mattered to people, I would still feel the exact same way I do right now, the same way they probably feel, frankly. But I am envious nonetheless because I don't have it the way they have it. I have it the way I have it, but that's not good enough for me. I want what they have, and worse, I want them not to have what they have. You're you're like Huckleberry Finn taking a shitty raft that could fall apart at any moment down the river Styx. Except you don't even have a friendly metaphor with you. The allegory fell in the water and died. His name was like Nicholas Rankin Jim, right? Well, that Huck Finn detour just completely ruined my bad mood. In essence, today was a resettling in of the fact this is the way things are. Sometimes you are able to forget, other times you see it and feel it clearly, and this was one of those days. And it sucks that when you feel you're getting closer to what you want, you need to be downer, not happier, because you aren't getting closer to what you want. You're being deceived. And I think what's really bothering me is the fact there isn't another way life can be, I think. Because you can't get what you want, but you also can't not want it. You can't manipulate yourself into wanting something else. Existential dissatisfaction indicates to you that you are living life as well as you can. Life is designed, and it works best, interestingly, when you are wanting things you can't get. So even as your life improves, if it improves, or if it fails, or if anything changes, no matter what configuration your life transforms into, you won't escape what you're feeling and what you're going through right now. And then you have dipshits who will get to this point and act like accepting it is how you beat it, but there's no beating it. You can't accept it. You can tell yourself you've accepted it, and you won't have. It'll always be another thing. That's part of the design. The win condition, a win condition doesn't exist, but you're alive to seek a win condition. There's no... Peace is not part of this equation. You will not find peace while you're alive. But I think we'll cut it here for now. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.